y'all. Uh, you ready? Y'all.
Alrighty, hold on. All right, so let's do this. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you all are tuning in to this podcast. I am your international award-winning author, filmmaker. Oh my goodness, hold on. Let me get situated even better. Y'all don't know what's going on. Okay, had myself together. But I'm your international award-winning author, filmmaker, life coach, lit coach, empowerment specialist, all the things to Neil M. Jackson. And I want to welcome you guys to another Get Educated, Get Empowered with Toneal. So on today's show, we are talking about choosing the right one. Choosing the right one. So as you all come on, please feel free to observe the rules of protocol. Number one, say hello so that way I can speak back. Number two, be sure to like and share the video, like and share. And then number three, tag somebody that you believe would benefit from today's broadcast. So who would benefit from today's podcast would be, it's a few different people because I'm coming at it from a different angle, right? So it's called choosing the right one, but we're looking at um we're going to go from this personally, professionally, politically. So from a personal perspective, people who you know who have chosen the wrong people to be in relationship with. Professionally, people that you know who may have chosen the wrong people to get into business with, right? So if you're trying to figure out who to connect with, so people who are just starting their business. And then politically, I am not telling you who to vote for, but we're going to kind of go down that road as well. So that's who you would be tagging. So let's jump right into this, shall we? Again, so if you are new to Get Educated, Get Empowered with Toneal, what we do is we take whatever our topic is and then we throw it through the wheelhouse of my areas of expertise, which are the arts, entrepreneurship, relationships, and self-care in no particular order. And so, the way that this topic came about yesterday, we are all following the news. I won't say we are all following the news, but whether you follow the news or not, you kind of couldn't help but hear, learn, know about the fact that vice president slash presidential candidate Kamala, however you want to pronounce the name, Harris, has selected her running mate, which is Tim Walz, right? And he is the governor out of, I think, Minnesota. So the point is, from there, it just kind of hit me like, okay, we need to talk about choosing the right one, right? Now, again, this is not me telling you guys who to vote for, because I go on record and say I'm a Green Party member. I'm a member of the Green Party. And so this is not me talking about whether or not Democrats or Republicans are better or worse, because at this point, it's for you to make your own decision. But I want to just come at this topic from the angle of saying the importance of choosing the right one, right? So let's look at this we'll start politically. You have a lot of different people who have said that she really could not, she being Kamala Harris, she really could not have gone wrong. Like with all the different people that she had to choose from as her running mate. I know I'm out of Illinois, so many people were thinking that maybe she might choose Pritzker, who is our current governor. There are a lot of people who were looking for her to choose Shapiro, who's out of Pennsylvania. And some people were taken by surprise with her choice of Tim Walz. Again, whether you agree or disagree, hey, Afia, whether you agree or disagree with her choice is not the topic of today's podcast, right? So this is not, we are not going in political. We are not, it ain't even about praising or bashing her. That ain't the topic today. It's looking at how to choose the right person, right? And we can even go so far as to say the pros and cons of choosing the wrong person. I think many people, if you are, say, over the age of 30, can probably attest to what happens from a personal standpoint, right? So, from a personal standpoint, what happens when you choose the wrong person? Whole lot of heartache, whole lot of headache, whole lot of crying and tears, and potentially depression and sadness, a whole lot of regrets, right? And you know what? And I'll say it like this: I don't even know if that's just from a romantic standpoint. I think we could universally say that, right? So, personally, professionally, and politically, I think that we can generously say that if you don't choose the right person, that it can come with regret. It can add negative impact and energy to your life, right? And so, let's start, since we're talking about relationship, let's start with relationship. So again, for those of you who are old enough to have had some romantic experiences, right? For those of you who are old enough, whether you are married or not, if you have had a long-term relationship, if it didn't work out, you probably get it. You understand right now what I'm talking about, right? Why it is important to choose the right person. First of all, let's say this: regardless of personally, professionally, or politically, it will help you to be a better person in choosing the right person. It will help your life to flow a lot more smoothly if you choose the right person. And so that then means by default, the opposites are true when you choose the wrong person, right? By show of hands, and I got people watching from pretty much every platform. If you've ever been in wrong relationship, raise your hand. If you have ever been in relationship for whatever reason, I'm not trying to get into your business as to why it did not go well, but if you have ever been in wrong relationship, let's see a show of hands, right? And if you don't care, you can kind of put in a reason, a word, a phrase as to why the relationship went wrong, right? Many times people will say, they'll go into particular reasons. Well, she wasn't no good. He cheated on me. She took advantage of me. He did this. So, like, a lot of times it will be blaming, the name game, the blame game. That's typically what happens when things don't work out. But once you heal and you're able to kind of move forward to then look back in a mature, I'm trying to grow from it type of way. Like, the point is not even about pointing fingers, right? Because at the end of the day, the blame game does not help you to grow. The bottom line is, many times the reason why it didn't work out was because it wasn't supposed to, right? And especially if, let's say, you experienced the wrong one and then you got the right one. Most of the time you probably thanking God, like, whether you believe in God now, you probably think like, Lord, thank you. Thank you for not letting that one work out, right? Like, thank you, because you saved me from something that could have really been bad, jacked up, messed up, right? And so we have to understand that. And I tell this to my girls all the time as well, because they are becoming young women. The oldest will be 21. I mean, 22. Lord, They get into 22, then 2018. So they're getting up there where, they're looking at dating. Some of them have already been dating. But like I tell them, understand there are a whole lot of people in this world. Whole lot of them. Whether you stay in your city or go outside your city, whether you stay in your state or go outside your state, in your country, go outside your country, there are a whole lot of people in this world that exist. But watch this. Only one of them is for you. Only one is for you. So choose wisely, choose carefully, but choose wisely. Understand that you don't necessarily have to be in a rush. And I think that many times we end up with the wrong one. And again, personally, professionally, or politically, we end up with the wrong one when we rush to judgment, right? So when we're just trying to hurry up and be in a relationship because everybody else in a relationship, or I want to be connected to this person because everybody else want to be connected to them, or this is who everybody else is telling me to be with. But here's the thing: you have to know yourself well enough first before you can really choose an adequate, or I don't even necessarily want to say perfect, because I don't think there's such thing as a perfect person, but there can be a perfect person for you, right? But here's the thing: like, if you don't know you well enough, then the chances of you picking the perfect person for you are slim to none, right? So let me give you an example. Let's say, just as an example, let's say you got some insecurities for whatever the reason. Maybe this is your first time out the gate in a relationship. So maybe you have some insecurities. Maybe you don't fully know you. Maybe you got some struggles. And so in your mind, you're looking for the person that's going to make you whole. And here's the thing: it's a difference between being whole and being healed. And if you are not healed, then it's going to be impossible to find someone who makes you whole, because people will say, well, I thought that you gonna make me happy. Happiness, people. And I'm only breathing hard because I remember being that young and naive. I remember being that age where I did not know that happiness was a personal choice. When I was putting the burden of my mental health on somebody else, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's a personal choice whether or not you are going to be happy or miserable. When you look at a glass half empty or half full, that's not something that anybody else can do for you but you, right? Your perspective of your life is a choice that you have to make. And so many times we get in relationship, and again, I don't just mean romantic relationship, partnerships with business and whatever else. You get in relationship with people and you don't even know who you are. You don't know what you are trying to accomplish. You have not figured out your own goals yet. And so what ends up happening, just because you don't like doing it by yourself, so whether it is life or it is business, because you don't like doing it by yourself, then you rush to form relationship with people just because you don't like being alone. And not liking being alone, like just needing companionship, is probably not the best reason to get in relationship. Why do I say that? Because you can get in relationship with anybody. Again, it's a whole whole lot of people out here. And so to just get in relationship because I don't like being by myself, I don't want to do business by myself, right? That's probably not your top reason that you should look at it as to why form a relationship. Like, that could be one of the byproducts. Like, it could be, okay, you know what, I needed somebody who was able to do blah blah blah, and because they're here now, I don't have to be by myself. But understand, there are a lot of people who end up in bad relationships all because of the fact they don't want to be by themselves. And why is it that you don't want to be by yourself? Again, Because you haven't taken the time to know yourself. You haven't taken the time to like be with yourself. Spend some time. It don't mean ain't nothing wrong with and I don't mean I'm not trying to push you into being a loner, right? You have some people who just naturally like being by themselves. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you should like your own company. If you are avoiding being with yourself because you're afraid of what that looks like, then chances are it's going to be very difficult for you to have a strong relationship. And the reason why I say that is because then what's going to happen is you are going to find yourself doing all of these things just so you don't have to lose that person, just so a person won't walk away. Again, when you're afraid to be by yourself, then that means that many times you are going to shortchange yourself. Many times you're going to do some things. Hey, Anthony, many times you're going to do things that you don't want to do or you don't like to do, all in the name of not having to be alone. And so I want to just like encourage you to get to know you, right? So whether that means that, okay, this particular relationship didn't work out, and again, whether we are talking about personally, whether we're talking about professionally, because there are professional relationships where you might get into business with somebody. You thought that, hey, this will work out because technically we both are looking at doing the same thing. Let's say you're a hairstylist, both of us are looking to, we both do hair, so it just makes sense that we go into business together. Not necessarily. It don't just make sense naturally, right? Like, do you guys have the same type of work ethic? Do you have the same goals? Do you have the same, are you looking for to get the same thing out of business, right? Like some people, hey, I just want to be able to have my own spot because it make me feel good to say I got my own spot. But if you partnered up with somebody who, look, this spot is just temporary for me, I'm trying to just use this as a way of getting some booth rent so that way I can actually get to what I'm actually trying to do. Like, that might end up causing conflict down the line. Why? Because the person that's just glad to have their own place, they not finna do no extra work. They ain't finna be doing no extra hustle because they've already realized their dream in getting the spot. Whereas the person that's looking at getting this spot as being step one, then now there's gonna be some conflict that happens because ultimately, and ultimately it's going to be the fact that our work ethic isn't the same. So now it's going to cause some problems, some chaos, some confusion. Why? Because communication was not had. And so when we talk about choosing the right one, for me, one of the main keys is communication. Again, whether you're talking about personally, professionally, politically, how do you choose the right one? You have to communicate. You have to give yourself time to, know what you want. So matter of fact, make that a number two. Know yourself. Know what it is that you want. What is it that you're looking for? Now, before anybody come to me from the Bible talking about, hey, well, it ain't for me to look for a husband because it says he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Trust me, I'm married, been married for almost 25 years, so I do understand that reasoning. But I do also need for women to understand that although it is not technically, biblically, it's not for us to be the one to do the looking true. However, it is for you to give your approval, your yes or your no. Just because a man come and ask you to marry them don't mean that you have to say yes. Like, don't be so thirsty, as they would say, that you just so want to get married that whoever the first person is that come and ask you, that you say yes. Yes, it is true, like I say, from a biblical perspective, that the man is supposed to find the wife, right? Okay, but what make you think that he the only one that's looking? You might not be the only answer for you. You see what I'm saying? Like, maybe he wants you, but maybe he ain't the only one that wants you. And if you are, if you don't have standards, then that means you're going to just find yourself accepting stuff that you're probably better than, if you don't take the time to get to know you and make sure you're whole and you're healed, right? Like, and so I'll even say healed instead of whole for those of you who might not understand that part. But there's a difference again between being healed and being whole. So you just accept the first thing that come along, Why? Well, maybe you were dealing with low self-esteem issues. Maybe you didn't believe in yourself. Maybe you didn't understand your value. So you're just so glad that somebody just thought enough of you, right? So you're looking at the fact that somebody is doing you a favor. But guess what? Over time, you begin to grow, and oh my goodness, watch this, you begin to heal. The more you begin to heal, you start really understanding your value and your worth. So now you're looking at this relationship that you're in, you start to reevaluate it. Did I make the right decision? Is this now all those questions that you should have asked at the onset are the questions that you start asking once you're in a relationship. And depending on what type of relationship that you're in, it might not be so easy to get out of it, right? So whether you're talking about, hey, you done signed some type of contract, and some people will say that marriage is just that, it's a business contract, right? It's a relationship. But you might get into business with people where you sign the dotted line, and if you terminate the contract early, there are going to be some type of penalties that you have to pay. So this is why, like I say, number one, if you're looking to choose the right person, communicate. Make sure that everybody's on the same page at the very beginning of what is it that we are looking to try to get out of it. Number two, and again, these are no particular order, but make sure that you're spending time with yourself. Make sure that you know you. Make sure that you're not just trying to get into something because you're trying to because you don't want to be by yourself. So don't allow fear to be what pushes you to get in relationship. Fear of being alone, fear of what other people gonna say, fear of getting like, don't be led by fear. And so, a matter of fact, that could be number three. Choosing the right one, you cannot be led by fear, but make sure that you are communicating. So that's choosing the right one from a relationship standpoint. But then if we go into it from a self-care standpoint, you know how when I came on, I said all the headaches, all the heartache, all the tears and the depression. Let me tell y'all something. And now I won't go from a romantic standpoint. When I first got into business, and many of you that know me, you know that I've been in the literary realm for well over a decade, but the Lord have expanded my territory to where I'm not just an author. Like, I've probably written about 20 books, nationally and internationally award winning. But as of a couple years ago, I started going into the film world as well. So I did a documentary in 2022 that became nationally and internationally award winning. I released a docu-series earlier this year. And the point that I'm making is, like, it's going to be times when you are working with people that's not just you. And I don't care whether you're doing it in your business, whether it is politically, like other hobbies or whatever. Like, you want to make sure that you are connected with like-minded individuals, because one of the things I would say all the time is that all money ain't good money. As a publisher, I'm also a publisher. uh Probably 98% of my clients that I've had in the last 10 years, because again, I've been publishing since 2014, probably about 98% of my clients have been phenomenal. Like, we're like family. I love these people, right? We're still friends to this day. But then you got that other 2% they just make you, and do not ask me, because no, I will not tell you the names of them. But you got that other 2%, they just make you kind of like scratch your head and be like, why did I get into this business again? Why did I agree to sign this contract? Because again, so I'm being serious though. Like, you have to make sure, because if you get into business, I don't care what kind, you choose the wrong person, you talking about stress, you talking about frustration, you talking about, oh my goodness, tears. Because what then ends up happening, again, depending on what realm, and I don't know if it may be universally so across all the realms, like, you start questioning yourself, you start questioning your sanity, you start questioning, like, why did I choose this, why did I do this, And so you got to really be careful because it's so many other implications that choosing the wrong person can have. And so, from that standpoint, like I say, it's so important that you choose the right person. Now, let's kind of go to the arts and entrepreneurship. We'll put it all together because again, all of this together has really it's all work together. Arts and entrepreneurship, that's the professional aspect, right? Self-care is kind of like the personal aspect of it. And we've already been talking about relationships. So you have to understand that you can benefit so greatly, not just you, but it should be a mutual benefit. When you choose the right person, like there should be mutual, it's a mutual benefit. Like both parties are able to get something out of it. And that's typically what you want. Again, I don't care if you're talking about a friendship, a relationship, a partnership, I don't care what it is. If you choose somebody, you choose the right somebody, they're going to get something out of it and you going to get something out of it, right? It may not be the same things that you're getting, but both of you all will get something. Maybe you're helping to add to their bottom line, but then they're helping to lighten up some of your load. So whereas maybe you used to work 20 hours a day, now you done got into the right relationship with the person who's actually competent, the person who's passionate, the person who want to be there and do what they're doing. And so now they're naturally gonna just do more because it's what they want to do. So now instead of me working 20 hours a day, I'm only working 12 to 16 hours a day because this is what they love. But what was happening was maybe they didn't have the skill set, maybe they didn't have the knowledge, but then when they partner with you, you were able to pour into them. And so they had already been working all these hours anyway, but they wasn't making no money. But then once they partner with you and you pour into them, now they're doing the same thing, but they're able to see the financial benefit from it. So you see what I'm saying? So now both of you all are benefiting from that. In the entrepreneurial world, we call that a joint venture, right? We call it where both of us can get something from whatever it is. So maybe we join forces and we do this event. So whereas when I did my event over here in this corner, I was paying $3,000, and then you did your event over here and you was paying $3,000 or $4,000. When we come together, then instead of us paying all these thousands now, we both only got to pay 1,500, right? And then you put it together and you still have that same budget of $3,000. So by joining forces with somebody, I'm already saving money, right? And then ideally, guess what? I'm probably going to be saving time as well because now I don't have all of the responsibilities on my plate. You get half, I get half. I ain't got to use my entire Rolodex. I use some of mine, you use some of yours. And so that is the benefit when you choose the right person, is that they will add to you. And so, like I say, this isn't me going into the analysis of why VP Harris selected Tim Walz for her running mate. This isn't me judging her, criticizing her, or even applauding her to say whether or not it was a job well done, whether or not it's the right person for her, whether or not they will win. This is not their show. And if this is what she was looking for, then, sorry to disappoint you, but that's not what this is. But again, I just want to come on real quick, guys, and I wanted to just kind of jump in there. And I hope that I've been able to help you all, giving you a few tips on why you need to choose the right one, right? To understand that you are worthy of having a right one in your life, whether it is personally, professionally, and even if you are like me, I am a political candidate, like choosing the right team, right? So again, understand the right one we're not just talking about a romantic relationship, but there are people that's going to be in your circle. So make sure you're choosing the right friends, choosing the right team, choosing the right assistant, choosing the right partner, choosing the right spouse. Like, you need the right people in your life, because when you have the right people in your life, then it's going to make you better. But in either case, if you guys have enjoyed what you heard, feel free free to Cash App me, Zelle me. For those of you who are watching on the visual platform, you are able to see that information. And then for those of you who do want to connect with me, if you are not already doing so, please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, X, YouTube, and I'm probably missing one, but you can find it. Follow me at my name is Toneal. Those of you who are listening to me on Noon Vibe, thank you so much. And if you guys are watching and you are a part of the Noon Vibe community, make sure that you connect with me there. Noom, Noom, Vibe, Vibe. And then finally, I want to make sure that you guys are aware of the fact, like I said, that I am running for office, MWRD commissioner to be specific. And then on Monday, I did put out a commercial. And in fact, every week, I don't even want to call it a commercial. I'm just going to say it's a reel. So every Monday, I'm going to drop a new reel and it's going to have a twist to it. So those of you who are watching via Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, you'll get to see it. Those of you who are watching from Instagram and listening for Noom, you will be able to hear it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. And again, we are done for the day. Thank you for tuning in. Check this quick, we'll call it an ad, a commercial promo. Check it out real quick. And once it's gone, then I just ask that you guys remember to get in the mix at 6 tomorrow. I will be going live again with another exciting and inspirational topic. Thank you guys. What's up, y'all? You ready for your first lesson about the MWRD? Well, here we go. Beverly Hillbilly style. Let's do it. Tell you a story about the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, how it all began. In 1889, now commissioners from Cook County set out to protect and improve the water quality, reducing floods, reversing Chicago River flow. Every 2 years, new commissioners are elected to continue in the work to keep the water protected. I knew more could be done, thought what solutions there could be, so I decided to run for MWRD. Commissioner, that is. Clean water, climate change, doing everything I can do to keep the community engaged. Toneal Jackson for MWRD. After all, who better than the green to keep the environment and water clean?